الفعل الثلاثي المزيد فيه. Inshallah, you're used to my handwriting. بحرفين. Triliteral verb with 2 extra letters. Either starts with a ta or starts with a hamza. I'm spelling out the word ta. I was about to just do ta like this, and sometimes I do. That's out of laziness. The scholars used to actually spell the name of the letter. So inshallah, we'll do like the scholars do. If it starts with a ta, then it could have the wazn of tafa'ala. That's the maldi. Or it could have the wazn of tafa'ala. If it starts with a hamza, it could have the wazn of infa'ala. Or if ta'ala. Or if alla. So that's your thulathi mazidun fihi biharfain. 2 extra letters. You have these 5 patterns here. Either it starts with a ta or it starts with a hamza. If it starts with a ta, you have these 2, tafa'ala and tafa'ala. And if it starts with a hamza, you have these 3, infa'ala, ifta'ala, and if'alla. These are all the maldis. So let's look at the mudari' and the masdar. Tafa'ala. Mudari' yatafa'alu. Masdar tafa'ula. Tafa'ul. Like tashahada. He said the shahada. Yatashahadu. Yatashahadu. He says the shahada, or he will. Tashahuda. Tashahud. So don't say tashahud. Tashahud. The second one, tafa'ala. The maldi. Tafa'ala. The mudari'. You should be catching on by now. Yatafa'alu. I'm not saying you should know what this mudari' is necessarily. I'm just saying your mind is seeing it coming. You know, it's clicking. If you didn't already know what that mudari' was before I finished it, you were like kind of ready to say it. So that's what I mean. Tafa'ala, yatafa'alu, tafa'ula. Tafa'ula. I want to draw your attention to one thing real quick that just crossed my mind. Notice here, when I put my tanween, my fathatan, my 2 fathas, and they're followed by an alif, I put them on the letter, not on the alif. Here, my tanweens are on my dal. They're not on the alif. On the one below, they're on the lam, not on the alif. Even this one here, the intent is that it's on the lam, not on the alif. Because the tanween goes on the letter, it doesn't go on the alif. So you will often see an alif with a tanween on it. You should write the alif, put the tanween before it, on the letter before the alif. تفاعل يتفاعل تفاعلا. Such as, he gave the example of, the author, تباعد يتباعد what? تباعدا. To go far. تباعد. I'm trying to think of a religious word that has this wasn't. Nothing's coming to my mind. But if something does, I'll come back, inshallah, and mention it. If you recall one, then please offer it. Then he said here, it might start with a hamza. And he gave us three: in fa'ala, and ifta'ala, and if'alla. But since he mentioned the hamza, we need to talk about it. There's two types of hamzas, brothers and sisters. Al-hamza. This letter, hamza, mashallah, has a very small character, right? That little character there. This hamza is a big, what you call a big player. Hamza has so much stuff going on with him. So he's a small guy, but he's not to be taken lightly. Hamza, there's two types. There's one called Hamzat al-Qat, and there's one called Hamzat al-Wasl. Hamzat al-Qat and Hamzat al-Wasl. Qat means cut, sever. Wasl means connect. Let's say sever. The severing hamza and the connecting hamza. The meaning of hamza being Hamzat al-Qat is that you pronounce it wherever it falls in the word. It can fall in the beginning, middle, or end of the word, and you always pronounce it. For example, akala, you pronounce that hamza, even if there was something in front of it, like huwa. Huwa akala, he ate. Or in the middle, like yakulu. Inshallah, my kaf is not confusing you with that alif. Yakulu. So I pronounce the hamza. Or at the end, such as qara'a. Qara'a. This hamza, Hamzatul Qat', for your information, can sit on the line by itself, can sit on an alif, can sit on a waw, you can sit on a ya, and you can sit on a nabra, which is really a ya, in the middle of the word. In all those cases, that's a hamza. Don't confuse it with a waw or an alif or a ya. Yani. In this word, mu'min. What's that second letter there? That's a hamza. Don't say wow. Say hamza. That's a hamza sitting on a wow. Mu'min. Or in this word, al-bari. What's that last letter? That's a hamza. Don't say that's a ya. Say it's a hamza sitting on a ya. Just say it's a hamza. You don't have to say it's sitting on a ya. So let's say this word, Islam. What's that first letter? It's a hamza. But you can say it's an alif. You can call it an alif. If you saw the hamza sitting on an alif, you can call it an alif. If it's a hamza, you can call it a hamza. If it's sitting on an alif or under an alif, you can call it an alif. But it's really a hamza. And we call it a hamza. But you can call it an alif. It's not wrong. If somebody said that's alif, alif, sin, lam, don't say, oh, wait. All right. That's Hamzatul Qat'. How do you know how to write it? There's rules for that. Like when I wrote mu'min here, mu'min, how did I know not to write it like this? mu'min. There's rules for that. It doesn't even look right, really, if you know, although you can read it, mu'min, but you say, something weird about that. So there's rules pertaining to that. Hamzatul wasl is a hamza that you only pronounce when you start with it, and you never pronounce it otherwise. Hamzatul wasl is the hamza that you only pronounce when you start with it. For example, al, you say Allah. The sign for hamzatul wasl is the head of a sod. When you start with that, you say pronounce a hamzatul qat'. Allah, a full hamza. Or ibn, son. You pronounce a full hamzatul qat', ibn. However, if something is in front of hamzatul wasl, meaning if you're not starting your speech, if you're not commencing your pronunciation with that hamza, then you skip right through it. So when you want to swear by the name of Allah, or swear by Allah, there's a wow, and since that alif is a hamzatul wasl, you go right through it. You'll say wallahi, and you don't say wa'allahi, because it's not a hamzatul qata'. Hamzatul qata' is pronounced wherever it falls. Hamzatul wasl is only pronounced when you commence your utterance with it. So you say, for example, Isa. How do you read this? Isa ibn Maryam. Isa ibn Maryam. Here in this case, we're not starting our pronunciation with this hamza. We're starting our pronunciation with this ayn. So the first word is Isa with an alif on the end. Alif maksura, the alif that's shaped like a ya. Isa, and then the next word is ibn. But in this case, I'm going to go from the sin directly to the ba. Isa ibn Maryam. Sin with fatha. Isa ibn Maryam. Yani, it's not that the hamza has a sukun. The hamza is being completely ignored. The ba has a sukoon. Can't have two sukoons in a row. So the alif loses its extension, and we go from the sin to the ba. Isa ibn Maryam. Say, for example, Muhammad ibn Abdullah. Muhammad, the son of Abdullah. Muhammad ibn. I didn't write the hamza though. That's a different rule. Just imagine it's there for now. Muhammad ibn. Or if I want to put this on a different line, then I can write the alif. Now it's there. Muhammad ibn Abdullah. Skip right through. Went from the dhamma on the dal right to the ba. Skipped right through the hamzatul wasl. So hamza is, mashallah, not to be taken lightly. Okay, now that you know what's hamza, hamzatul qata' and hamzatul wasl, we don't want to turn this into a whole lesson about hamzatul wasl, but I just want to give you information that I think you need. So hamzatul wasl, there are cases in which you can know when it will appear. You can know when hamzatul wasl will appear. You can make a qiyas, that means a comparison. You can deduce it. One place where you can expect the hamzatul wasl is here. This whole arrangement here. You can expect hamzatul wasl in the thulathi mazidun fihi biharfain. and بثلاثة أحرف, and 3 letters also. Not 1 letter though. You don't find Hamzat al-Wasl in ثلاثي مزيد فيه بحرف. Triliteral verb with 1 extra letter. We did not encounter any Hamzat al-Wasl, right? We said fa'ala and fa'ala and af'ala. That's a Hamzat al-Qat'. So it's not there. The command for the thulathi mujarrad, you can find it there, Hamzat al-Wasl. As for thulathi mazidun fihi biharfain, thulathi with 2 additional letters, you can find Hamzat al-Wasl there. In the madi and in the masdar and in the amr, the command. So the madi in fa'ala and ifta'ala and if'alla. Let's take a look at those. In fa'ala, the mudari' is yanfa'ilu, and the masdar is infi'ala. Now, being that there's Hamzatul Wasl in here, the way I read this sentence or these 3 words is like this. In fa'ala yanfa'ilun fi'ala. Because I'm not starting with that Hamzah, that last one in the masdar. I'm not starting with it. So I'm not going to pronounce it. I'm going to go right through it. From my lam madmuma, my lam with the dhamma, right to the noon. In fa'ala yanfa'ilun fi'ala. That's how you read Hamzatul Wasl. For your information, even if it's an ayah from the Quran. Meaning, let's say you saw this saying of Allah Ta'ala, Ar-Rahmanu ala al-arsh istawa. Ar-Rahmanu ala al-arsh istawa. The first letter in this ayah is a Hamzatul Wasl. So what if there was some talk before this ayah, right? Like we were reading something and the author said, كَقَوْلِهِ, like the saying of Allah. How would you read that? A lot of people would read it like this. كَقَوْلِهِ الرَّحْمَنُ عَلَى الْعَرْشِ اسْتَوَى. The way to read it is like this. كَقَوْلِهِ الرَّحْمَنُ عَلَى الْعَرْشِ اسْتَوَى. You read right through the Hamzah. In fa'ala yanfa'ilun fi'ala. Like in qata'a yanqati'u. In qata'a yanqati'un qita'a. Like in khala'a. In khala'a. Notice that noon on top of the kha. In khala'a. What would the mudari' be? Yankhali'u. And the masdar would be inkhila'a. In khala'a yankhali'un khila'a. In qata'a yanqati'un qita'a.
A question, Shaykhi. ما معنى إن خلع؟
To withdraw. In khala'a yadahu. He took his allegiance back. I'm very happy for you brothers and sisters who are learning this for the first time, and you've been consistent, and you're seeing the fruits of your labor. Alhamdulillah. So we had in fa'ala, we also have ifta'ala. Ifta'ala. Yafta'ilu ifti'ala. Like ijtama'a. Notice how that ta came over top and connected to the meme from the top. Ijtama'a yajtami'u. The ya came on top of the jim. I could have written it like this. And maybe some of you want me to write it like that. But it's okay. Because you'll get used to it. And then you will have benefited. Ijtama'a yajtami'u ijtima'a. In ifta'ala yafta'ilu ifti'ala. Ijtama'a, to come together, to gather. What about this one? Familiar with this? Taraba. يقترب اقترابا اقترب يقترب اقترابا. From Surah al-Qamar. اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر. You come close. And then there was still another one. افعل افعل. This wazn is usually restricted to colors and defects. يفعل. Don't be lazy with your shadda. And don't be stingy. Don't be miserly also. If'alla, make it clear. That's two letters. Lam, lam. If'alla. The first one has a sukoon, the second one has a haraka. If'alla. Yaf'allu. If'alla. Yaf'allu. If'ilala. If'alla yaf'allu if'ilala. Like ihmar, brought the hat on top of the meme. Yahmaru, brought the ya on top of the hat, and the hat is on top of the meme. See the two dots for the ya under the line? Although that ya is all the way up there on top of the hat. Yahmaru ihmirara. Ihmarra yahmaru ihmirara. To redden. What I'd like to do at this point is look at the meanings of these wazns, and then we'll stop, inshallah ta'ala.